In this video, we will go through the 4 most important kinds of free-form curves in Rhinos. We will highlight the difference and also highlight which to use. Their construction and editing is the foundation of Rhino modeling. A clean curve will lead to a clean surface and modeling. In the sidebar, we have the control point curve and we have the arrow which faces down. That's the cascade curve where you'll get all the options. You can simply click on any one option, or you could click this particular bar and just move it out, so you get all the options. You take your mouse over the control point curve, down you get an arrow, you click on that. Now first we will start with the handle curve. Now the handle curve is very similar if you have used Illustrator. I would click that option. You need to click for the start point. It gives you the direction, in which direction do you want to create the line. I click, and once you click, then it allows you to curve the line depending on your mouse. So for example, let's say I want a line to appear till here. I click, then again in what direction you want the next line. Depending on that, the line which you have created already will get curved. And finally I come to the end point to snap. Once you are done, I would right click. You need to make sure that O snap is on so that it can properly snap at the end points. Under O snap, I have kept the end on. Select the curve, right click over it, you get the control points. Now if you select a particular control point, you can simply move it the way you want. Your design gets modified. Now, for example, I select these 2 control points. So these are my control points. I again select these 2 control points and I can either move it upwards or move it downwards, so the entire shape of the curve would change. So these are my control points. Once I'm done, I could simply press the escape button, select the design and delete. The next option which we'll be going through is the interpolate points. Once you click on it, I'm in the top view. I will click. Now you see your line is not moving out of the point which you have clicked on. Now if I again click, so basically these lines have to go through the points which you have created. I can select the curve. From the sidebar, I can also switch on the points, like points on. I can click, I can get the multiple points which I have. I can click on it and I can make modifications from here. The same way, you can again select multiple points, you can make modifications to your curve. I press the escape key, I again select it. Now I want to see the points which are on the line. Edit points on, it showed me those points which we have gone through, so I can again click, I can make modifications back over here also. So once I again select the same curve, if you go to see, the points on basically creates like a cage for your curve, whereas I'm pressing escape, again selecting the curve, and I have put on the edit points on. These are the points for your interpolate curve. I will show you sketch. We have the sketch option. I click. Now I call this easy to use but very inaccurate method. You click and hold to draw the curve. So there you go. I have written line. I press escape. Once I have done, I select any one curve. I can have the points on. I can see how many points are there. So many points. So much editing is possible. I again click on this. I go show points. I can click both of them and I can say show points. We generally don't use this, but it's good to know that you also have an option where, because there are so many points, it becomes very difficult to modify such a curve. The next option is the control point, is what you should be usually using. In the sidebar, the first option itself is the control point curve. I click to get started. As I click, that's the start point. It could be uncomfortable in using, but it's definitely worth the time in getting comfortable with the drawing tool. I click. There you go. There's no surprises as such. As you're going ahead, you're creating the curve. And I go to the point and I click. Again, I just make sure that O snap is on and end point is on so it snaps. I select the curve. I come up over here and switch on the points so I can see the entire points up over here. I can click and I can make modifications. I can get this down, I can get this, there you go. So just a Control Z, I click this point, I get this particular point down, click outside. Now let's look at the other options which we have. The next option over here, you have points off of the selected object, so the points go away. I again click, I again want the points on, so again I have the points on back. Then if you want to add a control point, so I click on that. Now select the curve or surface for control points. I select the curve. You see now I have an option over here where I can add a control point. For example, let's say I want to add a control point at this point. I click, a control point is added. I click, a control point is added, and once I'm done, I could simply press enter. Now I can select that new control point and I can simply make the modification from there. I can make the modification from this part, so on and so forth. The same way I keep it selected. I also have, you can add, you can minus, select the curve. I again select the same curve, so you can snap towards which particular point do you want to delete. For example, let's say I want to delete this specific point, so I click, so that particular point gets deleted and my curve is readjusted. As I already have mentioned, that it could be a little uncomfortable to work, but generally whenever we are working in jewelry, you will be always using the control point maximum number of times, so it's definitely worth the investment of time and going through these options.